Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Relationships Reloaded, produced by the Hanson Youth Ministries. We're so happy that you're here. We're so grateful that you're here. And I thank God for another day where we can assemble here on this online platform to discuss this week a very important topic: daddy issues. Have mercy, daddy issues. If you're on Facebook, welcome. I want you to go ahead and share this program on your newsfeed so that others will be able to see what's going on here. If you're on YouTube, I want you to like, subscribe, and share this program with your friends so that they may be able to see the good things that's going on here by the Hanson Youth Ministries Department. I have a wonderful group of men here with me, men that I look up to, men that I aspire to be like. Two of them you probably know already. One is brand new to this platform, but definitely not brand new to ministry and brand new to youth. And so we're going to pray, and then we're going to jump right in. So wherever you are, as long as you're not driving, as long as it's not threatening, I'm going to ask you to bow your heads with me. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for everyone here, for the panelists, for those who are watching. And I pray that through what we do here, that their lives will be blessed. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm going to start with a newbie. Pastor Paul Graham. Pastor Paul, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. Share something fun about yourself.
Fun. It used to be fun. But now I'm a daddy. No, I'm sorry. Man, I'm a New Yorker. Let's put it that way. So I'm excited today to be with everyone. I am the senior pastor at Restoration Praise Center. I'm also the senior pastor of the PASDAC. That's the Pennsylvania Avenue Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I'm elated to talk about these daddy issues. I'm elated to talk about family issues, especially Father's Day. Now that we're in Father's Day, my kids, man, I be honest with you, I live for my kids. I'm just excited about being able to share whatever I can to help somebody grow. What's exciting about my life? I think the exciting thing about my life is my kids.
He's a good daddy. He's such a good daddy.
If you say so, brother. If you say so, I appreciate that. If you say so. So, it's not much to really say. I mean, there's two, if you're talking about how I feel about myself, you ask me how I feel about myself, not the accolades, not the so-and-so, whatever. It's just that, I enjoy life because, we're only given 70 and man, next week I'm on my 50. So I'm trying to reel it all in or spread it all out. Sorry, not reel it in, spread it out. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm glad to be here with you, Pastor. Thanks for the opportunity.
Amen. Good to have you here. You're looking good for 50. When I get to 50, I hope I look as good as you.
I'll tell you my secrets, but they may take our license from us.
Have mercy. I love it. Sam, brother, what's going on, man? Tell the folks a little bit about what you've been up to.
Man, just staying busy in ministry, man. Taking care of these kids, man. Playing some table tennis whenever I get a chance. Love me some table tennis. Don't get a chance to do it as often as I like, but when this pandemic is over, I'm back on it.
All right. Wow. I didn't even know you as a table tennis player. But anyway, see, that's how life goes. You live, you learn. Kashmir, what's going on, brother?
Listen,
tell the folks what's going on in your life.
Same thing. Like these two fine young men here. Sam, my first time meeting you, I know you through a mutual person that we know. His name is Sander Camo. So he spoke highly about you. Pastor Graham, let me tell you something, Sean, about Pastor Graham. As we, some of you don't know, some of you know, Sean, you know this, but Dr. Warner Richards is my spiritual father and my mentor at Hanson Place. And so he is guiding me. But Paul Graham is one who started the spark, not just a little spark, a major spark in my ministry. For a couple of years, maybe 3 years, 4 years, I had the opportunity to serve under his ministry as his drummer for Full Circle Ministries. We went to Canada, Ephesus, different places under leadership, the music aspect of my cousin Arnell. And it was real quick. It was at Binghamton University. He pulled me to the side and he said, Gasper, it's time to drop the sticks and pick up the microphone. You were called. Still playing the drums here and there, of course, but of course ministry is in the forefront. So I'm just so excited to meet someone new that I in person that I heard about, and to be with someone that I was able to serve under his ministry as a musician, as a minstrel. And so, Sean, love you, my brother, as well. I love to serve with you and under you with Pastor Dr. Richards at Hanson Place, just to be there with you guys as well. And so it's amazing. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
I'm excited. This is going to be a wonderful program. And I just want to let the fathers know, just in case you fall out, in case anything happens, I want you to know up front, to every father figure out there, I want you to know that you are very important. Dare I say that you're even more important than you know. You're even more important than you even know. And I hope that by us going through this discussion this evening, you will realize how important you are. My family on YouTube and Facebook, here's what I want to do for you. If you want to give your father a shout out, I want you to go ahead and put it in the comments box. What I'll do is that at the end of the program, to everyone wants to give their father a shout out, I'll read your shout out at the end of the program, because I want to make sure that we affirm as many fathers as possible. We want to affirm as many fathers as possible. So if your father has been important to you, has been important in your life, we want you to go ahead, put it in the comments box. At the end of the service, we're going to get it all together and let your father know how important they are. So as we get ready now to jump in to the program, here's the first question I want to ask. And I'll begin, let me say, I'll do Gashmir, then Sam, then Paul. As you look around what's going on in society in this day and age, and you see all that's going on, how do you feel? What are some of the emotions that you're experiencing now, being a Black father in the United States of America? Talk to me.
No joke. It's so serious to me. I've been a father for 16 years and 8 months. Neve and Shiloh. Shiloh's about to be 8 months in about a few days. And so I don't have sons as yet. Amen, Diane. I don't know if you can hear me. But for my girls, I just value them. Now, Neve, I was a minor with major responsibility. I had her at 17. That's my testimony. God used her to save my life and still saving my life. And I just protect her and guard her with all my heart, because both of them, because those are my girls. Now, in addition to ministry, my background is in law enforcement as an officer. And so rewatching the video as a law enforcement officer, watching the video and seeing the murder of George Floyd, just enraged. So I was sitting in the living room and I just started to cry. And my wife said, she already knew, but she wanted to get more understanding. And I told her, I said, I'm angry. And then I put a video up on Instagram on my page the other day on my IGTV, being in ministry full time and also having a background in law enforcement in the city here in New York. I called out a lot of things, excessive force of the murder of Rayshard Brooks. So to answer your question, I can go on and on. Sean, I'm just angry. I'm upset because time is over. We have to make it known. And so I'm teaching my girls to know who they are and whose they are. First in God, but also as a culture. Need to know who you are and how to fight back. I don't have to teach them to loot, but I'll teach them to be financially free. I teach them to, be educationally astute in wherever God wants them to be. So that's where I am right now in this culture today. I'm teaching them how to protest intelligently. And the model that we have is the Tulsa, Oklahoma 1921 model. And that's where I am right now.
Thank you so much for sharing, Gajmer. And for those of you who are on Facebook or YouTube right now, if you are a dad, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you feel about being a father in this day and age. How do you feel? Sam, let me go to you. I know you have 2 boys. Talk to me. How do you feel about being a dad in this day and age?
Man, it's a big challenge. I would argue that it is no big or less of a challenge for my father. I just think that it's sad that it's no different. That's the challenge, that it is no different than for my father than it is for me. So the same lessons that I'm teaching and sharing my sons are the same lessons, unfortunately, that I have to teach them, and that is more public demeanor, dealing with law enforcement, understanding how the public sees them and views them, how to carry themselves, things like that. But I think that I'm in a place now where, just me personally, where I believe how I treat or care for their mothers equally as important of how I parent them. And so this is deep for some men who may not be in a relationship with the mother of their children, that how you care and treat that woman.
Hold on.
What happened, Preach?
You're running somewhere that I don't want you to go yet.
Okay. But that's where I'm at. I'm gonna end it there. That's where I'm at.
I want you to hold it.
Sam ain't joking.
I came ready now. I came
there. But
ready.
Yeah, with guns.
I don't want you to get there yet. We're going there, but I don't want you to get there yet.
All right, go ahead. I'm done.
But I hear you, and one of the things that you said, which really touched me, is you're realizing that the same threat that your father faced is the same threat that you face, and you have to now train your children to deal with the same threat. That's a sad thing.
It is.
But anyways, let's move on. Pastor Paul, you've been doing this longer than us. Talk to me.
I don't know if you could see my screen. I'm not sure if you could see my screen.
I did have something up before.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but this.
I see it.
This speaks to how I'm looking at, and don't peer so hard, guys. I'll read it. To be a father in this day and age, and because when you ask Gajmer, he was clear that he was like really like he's angry, he's upset, he's angry. When you see that Pastor Sam, he's on edge. You understand where I'm coming from? He sees that this thing is following me to generations. I look at this thing and for me, it's a greater challenge at this point, raising my children. And I look at this, and I said it to my church this morning. I'll say it again, that being a Black father is different from being any other father right now of the race, because we got to rise above the negativities. We got to rise against the stereotypes. We got to rise against all of that, and yet still be a protector and a lover, and and have a strong foundation. When I say strong foundation, I'm not just talking about your morals. I'm talking about Christianity. You know what I'm saying? And so we have this crazy opportunity that when we see what's going on in our world today, we got to ask ourselves the question, God, what do you want from me? Really, what do you want from me? And so it can leave us in a confused state. But I felt like my responsibility, because of the times we're living in now, my responsibility is now heavier than it was maybe a year ago, you know, maybe even 2 or 3 years ago, because we have a succession of, I got to explain certain things to my son. And then you got to explain certain things to your daughter, So here it is, Sam, you got 2 sons. And here it is, Edgar, you got 2 daughters. Am I correct? Well, I'm somewhat stuck in the middle where I got a boy and a girl. And so, not stuck in the middle, but the responsibilities is to my daughter, hey, I need to teach her differently from my son. And my son made a comment to me the other day, and I'm good, based on the times that we're living in. Hope I don't jump the gun like Blazer over there. That my son said, these guys should not be aggressive with the police. This is why these things happen. And I had to pause with my son, and I had to say to him, hold on a second, son. Hold on. It's not that they were aggressive with the police. It's that the police are aggressive with them. It's not like a fight like who started it. You understand where I'm coming from? And so don't take the environment that I chose to grow you in and think that you're better than anyone else.
Mm.
You need to be very careful. You didn't do Brooklyn like how I did Brooklyn. You didn't do the trains like I did the trains. But you're gonna get stopped like I got stopped. You're gonna walk in this nice neighborhood and you don't have to be driving. They'll pull you over. I mean, they'll stop you from walking and ask you where you live. Mm-hmm. From. So don't you ever think that because you grew up sheltered that you can't grow up educated. Do you understand where I'm coming from? That's the responsibility that I've had now more than I've had in the past. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Wow. Really, really powerful. I don't even know what to say. Really, really powerful. There's nothing else I can say to that.
So I got a question. I got a question for Graham. Graham, you have a 17-year-old son, 16?
No, my son is going to be 15.
15. Okay.
And my daughter's going to be 17.
Your daughter's going to be 17. What were some of the things you shared with them about driving, or are you allowing them to drive independently?
Well, my daughter's driving now because this ain't New York. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. The first thing that I taught my son and my daughter is when I got pulled over about a year ago with them in the car. And I had to mirror, I had to tell them certain things, and then I'll explain it to you later. Mm-hmm. Don't talk for me. Mm-hmm. Number 2, the reason why I'm going to speak like this is because I'm trying to get home. Mm-hmm. Number 3, my ego is not bigger than my breathing. You understand where I'm coming from?
Right. Yeah.
And I had to tell my son, because my son can be agitated, man. He can be agitated quickly. But when we were in the car, he says, you're answering, sir. No, sir. Can I reach for something? Dad, he wants your license and registration. And why didn't you just get it? No, son, I can't just get it. I've got to let him know that I'm now opening the so-and-so. I'm going into so-and-so. I'm now pulling this out. And so I wanted my son, especially my son really, to realize that, we got to be careful of modern day lynching. And they'll take any opportunity to let you put your lid. Yeah. And the person I'm afraid of more than my son is my daughter, because she stands up for her right. She's seen as an angry black woman. So she's standing up for her right. And then my son, if he stands up for his right, he's seen as an aggressor. You see where I'm coming from? So we're darned if we do. Come on, pastors. I'm on the right. And we're darned if we don't. So again, Sam, with your son, you got to somehow emulate it. You got to see that. Not just tell them, we're about to get pulled over right now, and this is what I need you to do. Copy me so that you can make it home.
Can I add to that? Not add to that, to compliment, because I was powerful, because being a police officer, that's exactly what Pastor Graham said happened. And before I pulled, I didn't want my daughter to see, because I have my shield, that I'm going to get common courtesy, the blue line. So I got pulled over, exactly what Pastor Graham said, to the T. What I did is I taught her, as it's taught in the academy, is pulled over. I had a front right light out and I didn't know. Pulls me over. This is Nassau County, Long Island. And we pulled over, turn on the lights of the car. I tell her pull out her phone. She has every right to pull out her phone. And then I took off the keys, turn the car off, put the keys on top of the roof. Now, some people argue that, and I get it, right? Because they could take the key and do certain things. But already, as he walked up to the car, his stress level went down over 50% because he's saying, okay, the lights are on. You know, the guy has his hands on the wheel, and then the keys on top of the roof. We conversed, we talked. He asked for my license. As I'm giving the license, he sees my shield, and then he says, you know, you can go. I said, no. I was teaching my daughter the proper way of how to respond rather than, you know, going crazy and then things go left. So what Pastor Grab is saying, I just wanted to just compliment that because that's a practical thing. Being on the other side, seeing that.
You know, I'm so grateful for this discussion because one of the things that you shared, Gashmir, about putting the keys on the roof, I have never heard that before. And I'm so thankful that, and that's why I love these forums because we get to learn different pieces and get to broaden our understanding with different topics. And I'm so grateful for that because now that's in my head. And that's something that I will definitely, when my son, by God's grace, he's 4. By the time he gets to that age, I'm praying that things change to the point where that won't be an issue anymore. But if it is, these are some of the things that I'll definitely be teaching my son about when when they get pulled over.
Yeah. Pastor Sean, can I ask something? If you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Sam, how old are your boys? I'm just asking.
7 and 5.
7 and 5. I'm just gonna say one thing, and I promise I'm gonna shut up, Pastor Sean. It's amazing how people feel that they're too young to learn already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's amazing how we get like that. You know, especially from our West Indian families. I don't know your background, Sam. I don't know your background. But from my West Indian families, they feel like it may not be a big deal right now. You understand where I'm coming from? If you live in the right place, it's not going to happen. If you do this, it's not going to happen. But I'm imploring you because this is where they live. You know, and I'm saying West Indian because I am. I'm not talking about some other people. This is where I'm coming from. There is a disparity between my Black Americans and my West Indian brothers from the past that can spill over if we're not careful. So Sam, I'm just saying, man, 5 and 7. Yeah, you got a lot of work to do now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The crazy stuff you got to dismantle in your boys.
Yeah.
And other people are teaching them that you try to, set foundations for them now. It's crazy. 5 and 7, and then look at Jasmine got to pick. You got to teach them, his daughters, to pick 2 individuals that know the difference between when and when not to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Pastor Sean. I just wanted to add that, you know.
Sorry, folks. Sorry. All right. So, Pastor Paul, I was just saying thank you so much for that. And here's a question that I want to ask you, YouTube and Facebook family. As fathers, what are some other additional tips that you give to your children? Is there anything that we didn't say here that you share with your children regarding ways to approach law enforcement? If you have other ways that other things that you have done, I want you to go ahead and share it in the comments section so that we can all learn, because we are all one family. We are all trying to figure this thing out. We are all trying to learn. So I want you to go ahead and share it in the comment section. Now, gentlemen, I want to switch to a more positive note now. And here's a question that I want to ask you. What are some things that you really enjoy about being a father? And let me start with Sam. I'll do Sam, Gashmir, and then I'll do Pastor Paul. What are some things that you really enjoy about being a dad?
For me, man, it is just watching them grow and learn, man. Just watching them develop and learn. What I do like, I watch my boys and I say, man, I used to do that, and I don't know where they learned it because I don't do it no more. But I used to do that. Watching them grow, watching them laugh, the playfulness of it all is something that I really enjoy. That's just me personally. Yeah.
Man. Listen, the day that Shiloh was born and to see Neve kiss her, I just lost it. To see that. And I'm learning more of the characteristics of my two girls. And to see, as Sam, as you're saying, characteristics of myself and my wife Diane, especially Diane, who came in, stepped up as a mother for my 16-year-old since she was 3. And even though we were dating there, she was just still like a mentor, mother figure. And then when we got married, it just became even more solid. And to know that my oldest, she's more syrupy, meaning she loves and hugs and kisses. But Shiloh could already tell at 8 months, she's a very determined baby. So I'm able to just sit back as a dad and just sit back and just look at them on the couch. And I'm just watching them and their characteristics and say, okay, God, where are you taking their characteristics as they get older? So those are the amazing things. And you can't buy that. You can't buy that. It's just amazing. If Paul said, hey, Paul, Arnell, Sean, hey, let's go out to play ball versus that, I'll stay at home and watch that any day. I love it. It's amazing.
Yo, and it's not punkhood. You know what I mean? It's not punkhood.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going to say something. I don't want to get in no trouble, but most of your boys who don't understand that, either does not have the value system that you have, or they may not have, that may not be their priority. Then you start to have to ask, then you have to start asking the question, who am I hanging out with? Because if I have a choice whether I want to be with my boys, and don't get me wrong, and for all those who are listening, your pastors have boys. Your pastors have people they hang out with. They may not even be Adventists. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, or your pastors have friends. So we have choices of where we want to go, who we want to hang out with, or whatever. And please, here's a sad plug that all of your pastors also, we all live lonely lives. So let me be clear about that. We have friends that may not understand everything about us, and we may not be as close. But I want to enlighten that question. We also have lonely lives, and God bless the day that our wives are not in tune with us for in a period of time. They may not be in tune with us. Gashmir, your wife just had a baby. God knows what her relationship could have been with you during that time. You understand where I'm coming from? Things happen. You understand where I'm coming from? But your kids, it's like, it's so genuine. If they hate you genuinely. You know what I mean? They love you genuinely. Just go up and down with them, really. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I could be arguing with my wife. They ain't going to talk to me for a week. My kids are not going to do that. They're going to be like, what's next? You know what I'm saying? Or what have you. Especially my thing, Pastor Carl, my thing is that I wanted to have the same relationship with my kids the way I had a ladder relationship with my parents, not the beginning. So my kids, we talk about anything. Let me give you an example. My daughter is going to be 17. I mean, she is dating. Even though I would have been like, she's not talking to nobody.
Right.
But I can't stop that. I can't stop that. How old is Nevaeh? 16?
16 going to be 17 September.
Okay. Genova is going to be 17 in August.
Mercy.
Okay. So I don't care what you say, Gasman. There's nothing you can do. You can say, I don't want you with John. I don't want you with Terry. I don't want you. She'll be like, all right.
No, it already started. I almost had to press a boy at a basketball game.
Okay. All right. Cool. My daughter would be catching me with stuff like this. Dad, I want to go to McDonald's. My daughter don't eat McDonald's food. She'll eat McDonald's food, but she wants to. That means I want to talk. And one day was a school night, man. She hit me like 12. "You're supposed to be sleeping." She was like, "I'm gonna go to McDonald's." I was like, "McDonald's," so that we can have a conversation. What I like, Pastor Sean, about being a dad is really being that God until they meet God for themselves. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, Pastor Sean, but I want.
Wow.
I'm her first. I'm my daughter's first husband. I am my son's first best friend. You understand where I'm coming from? And I don't want them to get it twisted that we cool like that. You can say whatever you want to say, but I want to also be their first God. You see where I'm coming from? And and I don't want to get that twisted either. But they're gonna understand who God is by my relationship with them. And that's why I take it so seriously that I enjoy my time with them. And I always tell my daughter, I know you're gonna disappoint me one day. I know you're gonna disappoint me one day. And my son is already disappointing me. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I enjoy about it. I enjoy my responsibility with them. I do. Somebody put in their investment. It's a true investment we have.
Excellent. Thank you.
Man, I'm enjoying this. I'm sorry.
Thank you so very much. And for folks online, I'm just having some technical difficulties here, so you can let me know. I'm trying to work out my audio, so if I seem a little bit flustered, do apologize. But we're trying to figure it out in the back end. But I want to ask a question. And this is just to, well, let me ask it to the panelists. I want to ask it to the panelists, and I want to throw it out there. And this one just came to me, and I want to ask it in this sense. Where did you learn the tools to be a father? Where did you learn it from? Was it passed down? Did you learn it from TV? Is it your friends? Where did you get your tools from to learn this dad business? Gashmir, let me start with you. I'll go to Sam, then I'll go to Paul. Where did you learn the skills to be a father?
Three men in my life. My father, of course, number one. He taught me the value of education, him being a medical doctor and saying, hey, I remember math was my weakness growing up, and him being a West Indian parent from Haiti, 4 o'clock in the morning in the basement of the house, like, hey, gotta get through this. Somebody might call it abuse, but it really helped me fast forward. Number two, my cousin Arnell watching. My cousin Arnell Borderon, especially having my daughter at age 17, really was a major mentor to me. Best man in my wedding. He took me under his wing in terms of the musician aspect of my life. So he taught me a lot, and I've seen the way he's interacted with his wife, Terry, and his kids, Tyler and Taylor. And then lastly, my deceased uncle, Uncle Gabriel, who passed away about 5 years ago. He, just spoke volumes to my life, taught me as a man how to be handy, to be responsible. It's just a lot. So those are the three major men in my life. Of course, there's many other tentacles and branches, such as Paul, as I said, Dr. Richards, number one, of course, and Paul and Patrick, of course, and many other business mentors that I have. But those are the top three core men in my
life. Thank you for sharing, Gashmir. Sam, what about you? Where did you learn to be a father? Check.
I'm still learning what it means to be a father. As my boys are growing, I'm still learning what is required of them and what they need. Mostly because I never did it before. For me, I didn't necessarily have a father figure. I think I picked up some things here or there from some men in my life, a grandfather and men at the church and community and things like that. But for me, I do not have an example living in a house, an example where there was a man And even if there was a man in the house, it would not make a good example. And so, nor an uncle, nor a nephew, nor a cousin. I don't think that there are any men in my family or in my life that I can say, man, I learned something from you. I think that between my brother and myself are the first generation of men in our family in which we can say we're in the household with mother and father, or even separate, or even a man that's actually taking care of his kids that are not with the mother. Or, you know, for me, I'm in a context where guys are avoiding child support, working under the table so they ain't got to pay it, you know, all sorts of things. So for me, I'm learning from reading books. I'm learning from my relationship with God, what type of father he has been to me. Therefore, that's the type of father I want to be to my kids, like Paul. And so that's what it is for me. And it's a strong commitment. It is a decision that I have made to be the best father that I can be.
You know what, Sam? I love what you just said. And I don't know if I'm answering the question, because I'm not trying to answer the question like this. I'm trying to answer the question by what I just heard you say and what Gas said. We don't have enough partnerships as men together. You know what I'm saying? I was driving with this guy from my church I won't even say the other day. This is maybe about 5-6 years ago. And I got off the phone with my dad, and my father said something that really irked me. And I was just like, man, this guy keeps, And he said to me, where's your dad now? He said, well, he's in New York. Well, my father moved now. He's here in Maryland. But at that time, he was in New York. And he said to me, you know, you could do better than that, because I didn't have a father. I didn't have a father to grow with me. I didn't have a father to be with. I wish I had a father that would bother me right now. And I have a son, I have a wife, I have my own home and everything. And I wish I would have a father to bother me right now. And I was just like, wow, because it hit me. It really hit me that, man, I'm blessed. Look, I'm blessed. I got a father that beat my behind. I got a father that would beat somebody else's behind for me. You understand what I'm saying? I got a father that I hated growing up because I didn't understand him. You understand where I'm coming from? And then I got a father who's like my best friend. Like, yo, Chief, like, I could tell my father anything. You understand what I'm saying? My father got secrets of mine that my father got secrets of mine that if you told my mom would be like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we don't have the opportunity of partnering as dads, partnering together. Like I know I don't know you, like I'm talking, when I say from a can of paint, Sam, but we as pastors don't have other pastoral friends that we can shoot the breeze with like that, to talk about our idiosyncrasies, to talk about our mistakes, to talk about our issues, and then feel safe enough to talk about it. That's just that's onion peeling, or you know what I'm saying. But then I was blessed again to have brothers who I watched before I had children. So Gary had a son, you know what I'm saying, before I had a son, and Pastor Graham Patrick had 3 children before I had children. And so that really helped me, because I grew up with men. I'm telling you right now, I grew up with a father who is a genuine man. He's a man's man. You understand what I'm saying? And then I grew up watching my brothers be men's men in their homes. You understand where I'm coming from? So I had no excuse. And when I say pansy, I'm not talking about gay. I'm not talking about gay. And I'm sorry to use those words, because so many times we as Southern men or West Indian men would say gay is I'm not talking about pansy meaning that. I mean pansy meaning not being the figure that God wants us to be, and then use it as an excuse because you didn't see it. You understand where I'm coming from? And I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I have no excuse of being a true man. I would say I've had mentors. 2 of my greatest mentors he's dead and gone, is Pastor Roy Ashmead. Okay, he was a mentor, and he was a mentor from afar, like how Mark in the Bible followed Jesus from afar off. You know, I followed him from afar, just watching every movement that he made. Okay, and that's one of the reasons in my ministry and in my family I don't cater to cheap popularity, because I learned that from him. You understand where I'm coming from? And then I've had another mentor. For me, I've had another mentor in my life who became a mentor. He probably doesn't even know that he is, but Elder Henry Wright. Okay. I watch him from afar. But I won't go to, I mean, I'll go to him and ask him questions, but he may not see me as this guy that's like, oh, he's sitting under my feet. Because Henry Wright don't think that way. He's like, I'm gonna give you my answer and I'm going. You know what I'm saying? But it's great to have mentors to teach us to be fathers, And so that's mine, man. I got no excuse. You know, if I treat the wife wrong, or if I do this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 ain't nobody's, it's all me. It's on me. Sam, can I ask, I'm sorry, Sean, Pastor Sean, Sam, what's your background, if you don't mind? Are you American? What's your background?
I'm both. Father's from Jamaica, and my mother's from Savannah.
It's like Savannah, Georgia?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. You're a mongrel. Wow. Your father is from Jamaica and your mother is from Savannah.
Yeah.
I'm asking, are they still together?
No.
Okay. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. You got some pepper blood in you. I got you on both ends.
Something like that.
Good.
See. Oh, I'm loving this discussion. I want to share something. As I said at the beginning of the program, I want fathers to understand how important you are in your home. And I hope that throughout this discussion, you've been seeing that. But I want to give you some statistics to back that up. And then I'm going to ask the panel just to, if they have any feedback on what I'm about to read. So this website, pediatricoffranklin.com, they have a article entitled The Importance of a Father in a Child's Life. And I think some of the findings that they have is some of the same things that you have just discussed or shared in your personal experience. So they list three main things. They said, one, a father is the pillar. They said both the father and the mother are both pillars in the development of a child's emotional well-being. And I heard Pastor Paul share that in that when his daughter said she wants to go to McDonald's, it means that she wants to have a private conversation with him. The next thing that they said is that children look to their fathers to lay down the rules and to enforce them. And the third thing that they said was that they look to their fathers to provide a feeling of security, both physical and emotional. So that's what this website said is the three main, or some of the three main purposes of what a father does inside the home. Now, here is a problem that we're having. So the fathers are supposed to be doing that. All three of you described your role in your children's life as they grow. But here is the problem. According to Statista.com, in the 1990s, there were 3.4 million single mothers in the Black home. But in 2018, that figure jumped to 4.4 million single mothers in the Black home. Another website, www.afro.com, states this. It said 74.3% of all white children below the age of 18 live with both parents. I want you to hear that stat. 74.3% of all white children below age 18 live with both parents. Here is the statistics for the Black family. 38.7% of African American minors can say the same. So we have 74.3% of Caucasians getting that instruction and nurturing and able to drive to McDonald's with their fathers and sit down, and you have daughters can talk to their fathers and boys can talk to their fathers. 74.3. And then in the Black community, only 38.7%. Gentlemen, quick reaction. Any reaction to those statistics? And then I'm going to pose another question, but I want to hear, do you have any reaction to what I just read? If you do, you can just chime in. If you have anything. Sam, you have something? Go ahead.
I don't think those statistics are surprising. I mean, we live in a Black community, and we know what it looks like for many of us. But I do want to highlight that it could be various reasons why that is. It ranging from Black fathers are incarcerated at a higher rate, and so mothers are left alone. It could be due to death or sickness, dying at a different rate. That statistic encompasses far more tragedy, it opens up a lot of doors of what those reasons could be. But the reality, it could be parents just didn't get along, or whatever the case is. But the reality is still the same, that that percentage is not being raised in a nucleus family, in which changes the dynamics of one's development and one's ability to care, to move forward. But those numbers are not surprising. I think Black mothers have tried their best to raise men. One of the movies that I used to enjoy watching, one of the actors called the family wasn't together. And he said, it takes a man to raise a Black man, take another Black man to raise another Black man. And Black men are not being raised by Black men. And there's a developmental challenge that happens there. And it's carrying on from generation to generation.
Mm. 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 And that's one of the, and what you said, Sam, is accurate. It's a broad problem. It's not like it's a one magic silver bullet to fix everything. There's so many facets to this.
Pastor Sean.
This thing is deep. This thing is really deep. Yes, Pastor Paul. Go ahead, sir.
I'm making him do something. It is scary sometimes when you look at those statistics, that these are the guys that you don't want to be a part of that statistic. You understand where I'm coming from? I mean, this guy that at 15 years old, he doesn't understand statistics. He doesn't understand what we're trying to do. You understand where I'm coming from? Especially as father. I'm talking about I'm not talking about my daughter. I'm talking about your two sons. I'm sorry, Gas, but I'm talking about how you gotta get away from the statistics. The only way you gotta worry about your statistics, Gas, is that you don't want your daughter to get into a relationship that is already doomed for a low statistic. But then how do we train our guys, our boys, in a sense, to recognize that this is what your grandfather, this is us now. Now when you have children or whatever, I got to train you in a way to stay home, to stay satisfied, to pick who satisfies you. Or you understand where I'm coming from? So when you talk about those statistics, they don't understand statistics until they reach a time of accountability, which is usually after the spiritual accountability. So here we are in a place where he's thinking about video games, because that's where I was at 30, 31, 40, But when he's thinking about that, I got to think about, what about his time? What about his relationships? What about his relationship with his mother? That's going to keep his relationship with his wife one day. What about his relationship with his sister? If I die tomorrow, can he be the head of this house? You understand where I'm coming from? So when you look at the statistics, is that your wife? Lakeisha's your wife, Pastor Sean? Nikisha's your wife?
Mm-hmm.
When she puts 74%.
Nikisha. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you I just thought about it, no argument. Okay. When you look at the statistics being 74.3, and she says that's crazy. Keisha cannot break down that number without you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, look at her. She's saying as a woman, my God, that number is crazy. Right? Uh-oh, are we there?
Mm-hmm.
Are we there? She's saying that number is
we're
crazy.
hearing you. We're hearing you.
I'm talking about as a woman, she's saying that number is crazy. But she can't break down that number or raise the bar without Sean, without you, brother. You see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. So
I can't do this, boy, by myself.
Mm-hmm. I
need a partnership. And Sam, like even though we talk about this, and maybe the same thing for you, Casimir, that when you have a single parent home, there is a lack somewhere. There is a lack. We can't, just because your mama brought you up well, doesn't mean you couldn't be, I'm using a bad word, weller. Oh, you understand where I'm coming from. So this morning I was preaching about the prodigal son, but not the story of the prodigal son. And the prodigal son, and the son went, and there was a famine in the land. And I was declaring to my church, y'all keep thinking about the famine is food. But for us as Black men, there's a famine in our families, and there's a famine in the land because we're supposed to be feeding them. And we're the ones that's not feeding them. You understand where I'm coming from? So now we're affected, and the family's affected by the famine. Look at that, 74%. That's crazy, and we're 30-something%. So when I look at that disparity, I say to myself, man, how do I do better? How do I make it better? I'm saying this way, do I stop talking to young ladies on the side? Come on now. Do I get rid of pornography in my life? Are you with me so far? Do I train my son that is pleasing to the eye, that is not pleasing to the heart? How do I then drive down the street and it's summertime and a woman walks by the car in a red light with her behind up to here, and I want to look, but I can't because he's looking at me. You see where I'm coming from? That's the statistic changing. That's changing the statistic that maybe we're not even ready for, but we're thrown into it as a responsibility. We're statistic changers, Sam. We're statistic changer, Gasman and Pastor Sean.
And that's very key because, to be honest, when you were reading the statistics, Sean, I just got really, and as Sam said earlier, I'm not surprised, but I agree with Pastor Graham Paul. Like, with this coronavirus, there's this new phrase called the new normal, and we need to create that new normal. How long has that statistic been there, Sean? We have to change the game. I preached this morning for Morning Glory service for Lebanon Church, and the sermon was entitled "Just Do It." And coming from Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And there's been three types of inheritant fathers. There's the broke dad, the get-rich scheme dad, and then the wealth dad. The broke dad is the dad who doesn't intend any inheritance to his children. So you leave your kids bankrupt mentally, spiritually, faith, fitness, both physically and mindset. And mindset. Then you have the get-rich scheme dad who leaves the inheritance of, it blows my mind, fellas, when you hear fathers say, I have to watch my kids. So they see, I was about to say pastoring, that's a whole different conversation. They see fatherhood like a chore. So it's a get-rich, it's like, let me hurry up and do this and, get it out of the way. So that's the get-rich scheme. Those who know like the multi-level marketing, sometimes most of them have some get-rich scheme, focus under it. But then the last and the greatest stage is to be a wealth-based father, a father who, like Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man, a devout man, a consistent man leaves an inheritance not only for your children, but your children. And you should leave an inheritance for your faith, your fitness, mental and body, your family, your finance, and in your future. And so we need to create the new normal. And so I see the statistics and I say to myself, okay, moving forward, that cannot be. So how do we do this? moving forward for like your boy Sam, and your son Pastor Paul, and God willing, God provide have a son, is to teach him and teach them to carry on the baton to create the new normal. So when Diane and I were dating, right? Real quick, Sean, I'm done after this. I'm a strong advocate. I just
No, go ahead, man.
Zooms this morning. Another Zoom I just came from before here. And I was sharing with them that when Diane and I were dating, we did pre-dating counseling. Before even, obviously, years later, counseling. When you do pre-dating counseling, we did it with Dr. Jesse Bevel, right? So I'm not sure if Sam or Sean knows, but of course, Paul, you know, he took us through 10 weeks of no spiritual stuff. At that time, he was a family life director, and we still communicate with him to this day. But 10 weeks of mental. We did the correct me if I'm wrong, the MPI-2. It's a characteristic exam. And we were able to determine that I'm more phlegmatic, I'm more exciting, right? And Diane's more calm. And so we balance each other. The reason why I say this, it starts at the root. If a man knows who he is and whose he is, he will now be with the one who not completes you, because only God can complete you, but complements you. You're with someone who compliments you. Therefore, you have kids. You have complementary kids. So I'll say that again. You know who you are. She knows who she is. You come together, you have complementary kids. Now you begin to create a whole new normal, a legacy where you can't even spell divorce, which will lead to the statistics of 75% plus. So going to the core of it, you know, is to know who you are and whose you are, to change that as young Black men to the new normal. And that's just what comes to me. I have 2 girls. And so, like you said, Paul, very clearly, I have to teach them now how to prayerfully, you know, be with the young men who are going to change this new normal. But that's just my contribution for this question.
Who do
go ahead, Sam.
Those who do have boys, what I want to hunker down on this responsibility to prepare my son to be complimentary for your daughter. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you know, we teach our daughters, this is how you choose, this is how you choose, this is how you choose. But if she ain't got nothing to choose from, if she ain't got no options, you see what I'm saying? Oh, just got to choose the best you can. No. I want to pour into and invest enough into my son that he would be a great helpmate, knowing that you did the exact same thing for your daughter.
Exactly, because Miles Monroe said this: if a nobody marries a nobody, then nobody got married. And so there is so I agree. God, Paul, oh my goodness. No.
So gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry. I got to get back on Sam on something. Sam, you messed me up just now, right? You messed me up. You know, Sam, I was taking notes about what you were just saying just now, Sam. I was taking notes. I want to make my son marketable. What you just said, Sam, I think that every experience is a learning experience. And what you just said was, I need to make my son marketable for, and I'm gonna say this for I'm just saying, for Gasmir's daughters. You know what I mean? For all the women out there. And I'm not talking about his looks. I'm not talking about how tall he is. I'm not talking about all these things. I'm talking about, I need my son to be better than me. And what you just said was, I'm pushing out a product so that Gasmir's daughters will feel safe. You see where I'm coming from? And I've never seen it that way until you put it in that manner. So I don't want my son to be a nobody, marrying a nobody. You understand where I'm coming from? So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for that, because I know that my father always just wanted what was better for us all the time. But I also believe that my father made me marketable. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And to help with my mother, don't get me wrong, but we're talking about dads. Dads make you marketable. I want to share this one thing. My father's a rough ruffian. He's a ruffian. All right. He is Jamaican, which means he's an English speaking Haitian. Okay. All right. Good. Hey, Pastor Anderson, you're Jamaican? Pastor Anderson, where you from? Jamaica?
I am.
Yeah, all right. So my father's a ruffian.
Yes.
I'm not going to put my brother's business out there because that's up to him to say. But my brother had a fall. I had a fall. My older brother. I'm talking about, I won't say had a fall that way, but has disappointed my parents. In all of the discussion, you would expect for my mother to be the one that was cradling us. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But it was my father who, it was my father who was like, I don't care what anyone else says about you. I love you. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And to hear that from a man, it starts you all over again. I can remember my brother being downtrodden and just like, where do I go next? And my father's like, brother, I'm not dead, I'm here. You understand where I'm coming from? Don't worry about what the church says or the organization says or what everyone else says. I love you. That means it doesn't matter if your mama don't love you. I'm the one that loves you. So when you're in a place like that, it causes me to be now to my son and my daughter when something happens and be like, what you worried about? I love you. You understand where I'm coming from? It's a generation of making our children, I'm going to put it this way, Sam, you let marketable. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So I want to thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. That was deep.
I want to thank all of you. And we're pretty much at the end of the program. And so the question I'm going to ask right now, it's heavy, but I want you to condense it. If you can condense it in 1 to 2 minutes. So I'm already giving you that heads up. It's a heavy question, but I just want 1 to 2 points of it. And in case anything happens, because I'm having extreme technical difficulties here, I'm going to give you the order in which I want you to go in. So if anything happens, if you see my internet fall out, don't worry, just keep going. Here's the question. So we have acknowledged that there's a systematic problem. And no matter which way you flip it, because all of you have expressed things that you can do or you will do or are doing to make your children marketable. But here's the problem. There are 70% of kids running around out there that have no one right now to pour into them to make them, well, let me not say that. Let me not say no one, because I don't know if they have other people outside of their father pouring into them. But there's a good portion of children out there that don't have an influence in their home to pour into them, a male influence. Here's a question. As a church, what can we do systematically to help to pour into these young men and even women who are in homes where there is no father figure? They have no father figure at all. I'll go with Pastor Paul, then Sam, and Gajmer. You will end it out. Again, I know it's a heavy question, but if you can see if you can even pull 1 point in 2 minutes. What can we do as a church to address this issue here that we have identified?
And that issue would be for single women. Am I correct?
So it's the issue is, well, as a church.
Sorry, I'm reading it.
How do we try to stand in that gap? Yeah, where that father is missing. Yes.
Yes.
So systematically to help pour into our children. Yes.
One of the things that we did early at.
So go ahead, Pastor Paul.
Okay, one of the things we did early at Restoration was that we really was sticking close to the boys. Those younger men were sticking close to the boys. Systematically, I think that men should fill the gap of where there is a missing father without expecting anything from the mother. I want to be clear. Too often, it's a road in to intimacy, even if the father is married, even if the man is married. So if I am here and I'm looking to mentor a young boy or mentor a child or do something for a child, the mentality in our community is what's in it for me. So many times a woman will not accept a man into her space to help her children and her because of her pride. Okay. And another reason why a man will not do that if he's married, because a woman may not understand his pure intentions. But then so many people may not do it is because they are afraid that when you take care, although the Bible says we should, of other individuals' children, so to speak, it seems almost like an inroad towards an intimate relationship, because intimacy is being close to someone's children. If there's a young lady here that I'm very good friends with, and I can say this before my Lord, nothing between us in any which way. His father went to prison. I know I have 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Father went to prison, and I stood in as a surrogate dad for this boy. Father came out of prison, and his first thing is that I was having a relationship with the mother, which was not factual. It was not even true. Even my dad looked at me and was like, "Yo, nothing." You know what I'm saying? You know. But the truth of the matter is nothing, because it was pure intentions, and it's still pure intentions. So systematically, we should be able to step in on a spiritual mindset without expecting anything except for the generation to be different. Systematically, we can change by stepping in where there is no father, right? And without making the father feel bad who's not around. Okay, that's not our job. Our job is not to put down the father. Our job is to help the children and somehow uplift the father at the same time. That's, who's not around.
Yeah, I agree with Pastor Paul. I think that just some practical ways is mentorship. One of the practical ways of showing that is actually having more men in leadership at churches. Pathfinder directors, Sabbath school teachers, children's Sabbath school teachers, guidance, all of those roles more involved in at the church will put you in just organic contact with young men. So if all your men just want elders, you're not gonna have many contacts. So you have to really fill roles in environments where young men are, youth leaders, youth teachers, young deacons board for young men, community service and outreach, just real practical things. On the job mentorship. If you work with your hands, show them skill. Just simple things, but you have to put yourself in those places to do that. Individually, find a young man, target him, pray about it. And this is, you can't save all of them, or you can't help all of them. Find one that you can be a part of. Hold the other men that you play dominoes with accountable. Who sit at across from the table? Who's your mentor? He ain't got one. Shame him. Find one. Don't let other men pass on that level of accountability of being a part of that. Number 2, holding your friends who have children accountable to being fathers to their kids. Holding that level of accountability, but just real practical ways of just being more involved in young men's lives. And the last one is start a young deacons board for the young men. just allowing them to be in your presence, seeing you how you work, how you move, how you exist, are great ways in doing that.
Well, Sean, I just want to agree with both Pastor Paul and Sam said. Simply this: just do it. That's it. For 3 years, when I was serving at the youth church, at Hebron Church, I had our little town hall meeting, about 200 something kids, young adults, young people. And they said to me, Past, like, we're just tired of adults talking. And so I'm just gonna use that foundation to say this: let's just do it. Pastor Paul, Pastor Sam gave great lists. Let's just do it. Let's just exercise it. Let's apply it to our lives. Let's just do it. That's it. The success of every movement is actually moving. And I just recall through my wife's experience when she when she was a member at Linden Church, where Pastor Graham was the assistant pastor, youth pastor there back then. And I know this man too. Paul knows this man too. But I just looked and watched over the years a man by the name of Elder Hall. Elder Hall is a man who have taken a lot of young men under his wing. He's a well-known engineer, and he took a lot of these young men and he went to different houses to build different things. And a lot of those young men today started their construction companies. And so just using that as an example, I'm sure in many different churches you have in the live comments, you can share different things. But just for me, I'm going to compliment what Paul said, compliment what Sam said, and that's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Because a lot of young people are going to really remember what you do rather than just saying, because, intent does not mean action. And we talked about it the last thing. I can intend to do something, right? But we just do it. And that's it.
Gentlemen, I thank all of you for coming on this evening, and the gems that you have shared cannot be replaced. They are so valuable. I thank God for all of you. And I want to say this. I just want to take a few pieces of what they have said, and I just want to wrap it up in this way. If you're a young man right now, I want you to understand how valuable you are. And I want you to understand that we need you right now. We need you as a society. You are valuable. You're important. And do the best that you can for yourself. Be the best student in school. Be the best worker. Be the best you can be. If you find a young lady, treat her the best way that you can. And if you don't know how to treat her, look around and see somebody whom you feel and you think treat his spouse really well. Read books. We need you. We have to change this. We really do. And I just want to say to men who are watching this, if you are a grown man in a church, I just want to take a piece of what Sam said. Well, first, I want you to do this. I want to make sure you be a good husband and be a good father. And then hold your friends accountable. As Gashmir said, we just need to do it. Less talk and more action. Gentlemen, I thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much, Gashmir. Now, I know I had promised that I would read the shout outs, but I am having so much technical difficulties over here. I'm not going to do it today, but I'll say this to all the fathers. And I'm so sorry I'm not able to give you a shout out. But God knows, and God is giving you a shout out right now. Thank you for being there for your family. Thank you for being there for your children. And I pray by the grace of God that you'll continue to do so, because what you're doing is you are changing the dynamics of this society, and you're giving birth to a wonderful new generation. For all the men who are watching at 6 p.m., we are going to have a Zoom meeting for men. If my production team could put that up on the screen, but we're gonna have a Zoom meeting for the men, men only. We want at that meeting. My wife wants to sneak in and I told her she cannot sneak in. So it's a Zoom, man. You credentials on the Facebook page. You can Zoom link there. If you're a man wanting to be a father, you need to be there. Even if you are not have no intention at all to be a father. If you're a man in society, you need to be there. Also, next week, we want you to tune back here, same time, same place at 4 p.m. for Relationships Reload. Once again, I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties, but God saw them, and I'm sure you heard what you needed to hear. Bow your heads with me. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for being here with us. And I pray that somebody's life has been changed due to what was discussed here this afternoon. Bless every single father, Gashmere, Sam, Paul, in a very special way. Continue to be with them on a day-to-day basis, I pray. I thank you for hearing and for answering our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. May God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And to the fathers, I hope this weekend you have a wonderful Father's Day. Put your feet up, relax. You deserve it. Don't do anything. Let the wives and the kids pamper you. May God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye now.